Okay, so get this. We're diving into some research today. And it suggests that AI might be on the verge of, like doctors, but actually outperforming them in some pretty complex medical situations. I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But a recent study on OpenAI's O1 preview model has got, like, everybody talking.
Yeah, what's really interesting here is that this isn't just some, theoretical experiment. This research actually put O1 preview head-to-head with hundreds of doctors from all sorts of specialties, and they use real medical cases from well-respected sources like the New England Journal of Medicine.
Oh, so we're talking applying this AI to real-world medical practice, not just
hypothetical scenarios. Yeah. This is getting serious. Before we go any further, can you give us a little background on what exactly O1 preview is and what sets it apart from previous AI models? Sure. So O1 preview is a large language model, and that means it's designed for complex reasoning and problem solving. But the key difference here is that it uses a chain of thought process, which is a more sophisticated approach than we've seen before. So instead of just, spinning out an answer based on memorized data, O1 preview actually works through a problem step by step, much like a human doctor would.
Okay, so it's not just about hose.
Yeah.
Having access to a ton of medical information. It's about using that information in a way that mirrors human critical thinking. That's pretty amazing. So tell me, how did O1 preview actually perform in these tests? Were the results as impressive as everyone's saying?
Well, the results were definitely impressive. Even, surpassing expectations in some areas. One of the most striking findings was in differential diagnosis, which is, what the process doctors used to figure out what might be causing a patient's symptoms. O1 preview actually included the correct diagnosis in its list of possibilities in a remarkable 78.3% of cases.
Wow, almost 80%. That's incredible. What about the AI's thought process during these diagnoses? Were the researchers able to see how it was arriving at its conclusions?
Yeah, and that's another area where O1 preview shined. The researchers used standardized cases from the New England Journal of Medicine's HEALER curriculum, which is specifically designed to evaluate how well someone documents their thought process while they're working through a diagnosis. And remarkably, O1 preview consistently received very high scores in this area, even achieving perfect scores on many of the cases.
That's really fascinating. So it's not just getting the right answer, it's also able to explain its reasoning in a clear, logical way. This AI is starting to sound more and more like a real doctor.
Right. It's demonstrating a level of reasoning that's quite sophisticated. But it's important to remember that medicine involves more than just making diagnoses. Doctors also need to figure out the best way to manage a patient's care, which can be a complex and nuanced process.
Right.
So how did O1 preview perform in that area?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. The researchers tested O1 preview on its ability to recommend the appropriate next steps in patient care using real patient cases. And you won't believe this, but it achieved a median score of 86%. That's significantly higher than both human doctors and GPT-4, which only scored in the 30 to 50% range.
Wow, that's a pretty significant difference. What could be contributing to O1 preview's success in this area? Is it simply a matter of having access to more information than human doctors, or is there something more going on?
Oh, that's a great question, and one that researchers are still trying to fully understand. But the study suggests that O1 preview's strength lies in its ability to process vast amounts of information and apply that knowledge to specific patient cases.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's almost as if O1 preview is able to synthesize information from a wide range of sources, including, medical textbooks, research articles, and even patient records to come up with a highly personalized management plan.
Right. And that's something that would be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for a human doctor to do on their own. It seems like this chain of thought process is giving O1 preview a real edge when it comes to processing and applying complex medical information.
Absolutely. And this isn't just about multiple choice tests or theoretical scenarios. The researchers really pushed O1 preview by presenting it with some seriously challenging cases, including those from the New England Journal of Medicine's notoriously tough clinical pathological conferences.
Yeah, those conferences are legendary for presenting complex and often rare medical cases that are designed to challenge even the most experienced physicians.
I'm curious, how did O1 preview handle that level of complexity? Did it hold its own? Well, it did more than hold its own. O1 preview actually demonstrated a remarkable ability to sift through complex information, identify key patterns, and arrive at accurate diagnoses, even in these challenging cases. And it's really quite remarkable, this impressive performance. It wasn't limited to just, diagnostic tasks. Researchers also tested O1 preview on gray matters cases. These are cases specifically designed and scored by a group of 25 expert physicians.
Well, so they really put this AI through the ringer, huh?
No.
I'm guessing it didn't disappoint.
Not at all. O1 preview aced these cases as well, outperforming not only GPT-4, but also doctors who are actually using GPT-4 as a tool.
Hold on. The AI did better than doctors.
Yeah.
Who had AI assistants? That's a whole other level. Makes you wonder, like, could we eventually see AI taking over certain tasks that the doctors currently handle?
It's a possibility that's worth exploring. But I think it's important to proceed with caution, while these results are incredibly promising. We need to remember that this research was conducted in a controlled environment. Real-world medical practice is much more complex and unpredictable.
Yeah, that's a good point. There are so many factors that can't be replicated in a research setting.
Yeah.
Like the nuances of patient interaction, the emotional aspects of healthcare, and the ethical considerations.
Yes.
They come with making, life-altering decisions.
Exactly. So while it's tempting to imagine a future where, AI doctors are making all the diagnoses, I think a more realistic scenario is one where AI and human doctors work together, each leveraging their unique strengths.
I like that idea. A collaborative approach where AI acts as like a powerful tool to support and enhance human expertise. It's almost
dynamic duo.
A dynamic duo, with AI handling the heavy lifting of data analysis and pattern recognition, and human doctors providing the empathy, intuition, and nuanced decision making that AI, at least for now, can't replicate.
That's a great way to put it. Imagine a scenario where AI can rapidly analyze patient data, identify potential conditions, and flag areas that require further investigation. This would free up human doctors to focus on building relationships with patients, providing emotional support, and making those tough judgment calls that require a deep understanding of the human experience.
It's almost like AI could take on the role of a superpowered diagnostic assistant, allowing doctors to practice medicine in a more humane and patient-centered way. But if AI becomes a routine part of clinical practice, how do you think that will impact medical training? Will future doctors need to learn an entirely new set of skills?
That's an interesting question. If AI takes on a more prominent role in diagnosis and treatment planning, it could potentially change the focus of medical education. Instead of spending years, memorizing vast amounts of medical knowledge, medical students might be able to focus more on developing those uniquely human skills we were just discussing: communication, empathy, ethical reasoning, and
the art of shared decision-making. So rather than replacing doctors, AI could actually help them become better doctors, allowing them to focus on, the human side of medicine, while relying on AI to handle the more data-driven aspects of care.
Precisely. It would be a shift from purely knowledge-based medicine to a more holistic approach that values both scientific expertise and human connection.
Yeah, and that brings up another interesting point. Remember how O1 preview struggled with probabilistic reasoning, like estimating the likelihood of a disease before and after a test? I wonder what that tells us about how the AI thinks compared to human doctors.
That's a really insightful observation. It suggests that, O1 preview excels at the sort of logical deduction needed for diagnosis. It might have more difficulty with the nuanced and often uncertain aspects of medicine that require intuition and experience.
Yeah, maybe it's like AI can be incredibly powerful when it comes to analyzing data and identifying patterns. But there are certain aspects of medicine, like understanding a patient's individual circumstances, their fears and hopes, their unique response to treatment, that require a depth of human understanding that AI hasn't quite grasped yet.
It's a fascinating thought. Perhaps the future of medicine lies not in replacing human doctors with AI, but in finding ways for them to complement each other, to create a synergy where AI's strengths enhance human capabilities and vice versa.
Like a partnership where each brings their own unique expertise to the table. The AI can analyze data, generate insights, offer potential solutions, while the human doctor provides the context, the empathy, and the understanding of the patient as a whole person.
Yeah, I think that's a really compelling vision for the future of healthcare, a future where technology and humanity work together to improve patient outcomes and create a more compassionate and effective healthcare system.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential for AI to revolutionize diagnosis, treatment planning, and even medical training. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about some of the challenges that come with integrating AI into healthcare. what are some of the potential downsides that we need to be aware of?
That's a crucial question. While the potential benefits of AI in healthcare are undeniable, it's important to proceed with a healthy dose of caution. One of the biggest concerns is the potential for, unintended consequences. Even with the best intentions, there's always a risk that AI tools could be misused or that they could exacerbate existing inequalities
in our healthcare system.
Yeah, right. We can't just assume that AI will automatically solve all of our healthcare problems. In fact, if we're not careful, it could actually create new problems or make existing ones worse.
Exactly. For example, we need to be very mindful of the data that's used to train these AI models. If that data is biased or incomplete, the AI could end up perpetuating those biases and making inaccurate or unfair recommendations. Yeah, that's a scary thought. It's like the saying, garbage in, garbage out. If we feed the AI bad data, we're going to get bad results.
Precisely. And we need to be especially careful about how these AI tools are implemented.
Yeah.
In real-world clinical settings, it's crucial that doctors and other healthcare providers receive adequate training on how to use AI effectively and ethically, and that they understand its limitations as well as its strengths.
So it's not just about developing the technology.
Yeah.
It's about ensuring that it's used responsibly and that it benefits all patients, regardless of their background or circumstances.
Absolutely. The goal of AI in healthcare should be to empower both doctors and patients to make better decisions and achieve better outcomes. But that requires careful planning, thoughtful implementation, and an ongoing dialogue about the ethical implications of this rapidly evolving technology.
Yeah, we need to be having these conversations now before AI becomes so deeply integrated into our healthcare system that it becomes difficult to change course. We need to make sure that AI serves humanity, not the other way around.
I couldn't agree more. This is a pivotal moment in the history of medicine. We have an incredible opportunity to harness the power of AI to improve healthcare for everyone. But we need to proceed with wisdom, foresight, and a deep commitment to human well-being.
Well said. This has been a truly thought-provoking conversation. I'm curious, as we wrap up this deep dive, what stands out to you as the most significant takeaway from this research on O1 Preview?
I think the most remarkable thing is that we're seeing a fundamental shift in what we believe AI is capable of in medicine. O1 Preview has demonstrated an ability to grasp and apply complex medical concepts, to reason through intricate cases, and to generate solutions that rival, in some cases, surpass human expertise.
It's almost like AI is crossing a threshold, moving beyond simply processing information to actually understanding it, at least in the realm of medical reasoning. And that has profound implications, not just for the practice of medicine, but for our very understanding of intelligence itself. It makes you wonder, what other fields AI could potentially transform if it can reach this level of sophistication in medicine? Could we see AI lawyers, AI architects, even AI scientists?
Yeah, the possibilities are certainly intriguing and a bit daunting, to be honest. But I think what's most important right now is figuring out how to integrate AI into our lives in a way that benefits everyone, especially when it comes to something as personal and impactful as healthcare.
Yeah, you touched on this throughout our conversation, but I'd love to dig a little deeper into the human element of all this. We've talked about AI's potential to diagnose and even manage care, but what about the human touch in medicine? Things like empathy, intuition, the ability to build trust with a patient. Could AI ever truly replicate that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, I don't think anyone has a definitive answer yet. Some might argue that AI could eventually be programmed to, mimic empathy or to respond in ways that feel comforting to patients. But there's a fundamental difference, I think, between simulating human emotions and actually experiencing them.
I see what you mean. It's one thing for an AI to say the right words, but it's another thing entirely to truly understand the emotional weight of those words, to connect with a patient on a deeper level.
Exactly. And that's where I think human doctors will always have an essential role to play. Medicine isn't just about data and diagnoses. It's about understanding the whole person, their values, their fears, their hopes. It's about providing comfort and support during difficult times. And it's about making decisions that are aligned with a patient's individual needs and preferences.
So maybe the future of medicine isn't about AI replacing doctors, but about creating a unique partnership between human and artificial intelligence, a partnership where each brings their unique strengths to the table, working together to provide the best possible care for patients.
I think that's a really hopeful and compelling vision, Imagine a world where AI can handle the routine tasks, the data analysis, the initial screening, freeing up human doctors to focus on those aspects of care that require a human touch, the kind of deep understanding and compassion that AI may never be able to fully replicate.
It would be a true collaboration, a synergy between technology and humanity, working towards a common goal. This research on O1 Preview has certainly given us a lot to think about. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listener before we wrap things up?
I think the key takeaway is that while we should be excited about that, the potential of AI in healthcare, we also need to be cautious and thoughtful about how we integrate this technology into our lives. We need to be mindful of the potential risks and challenges, and we need to make sure that AI is used in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few.
It's a powerful reminder that technology is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us as a society to decide how we want to shape the future of AI in healthcare to ensure that it serves humanity and helps us create a healthier, more equitable world for all. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive. I want to encourage you, our listener, to check out the full study yourself if you're interested in learning more. It's called Superhuman Performance of a Large Language Model on the Reasoning Tasks of a Physician. And it's truly a fascinating read. As we've seen, the future of medicine is evolving rapidly, and AI is playing an increasingly prominent role in that evolution. Stay curious, stay informed, and who knows, maybe you'll be one of the pioneers who helps shape this exciting new era of healthcare.